as you develop others, as you mentor them, there's one thing you're always going to have to do. And if you don't do this one thing, you're probably not going to be a great leader. Hello and welcome to Up Leadership, where you get the tools you need to be a great leader. My name is John Kaufman, and I am a master's student. I am currently pursuing a Master's of Science in Management and Leadership. I have been working for the public sector for over 10 years now, and throughout my time there, I have held various positions, some of minor authority and some of no authority. And I am currently working as a process improvement specialist. So I wanted to start this channel to provide insight to what I've learned throughout all my years of education and all my time training. I'm a veteran of the United States Army. To all my other veterans out there, love you guys. But I just wanted to start this channel again because I had to go over the last 10 years, and I'm still pursuing it, have had to go to colleges and pay money and gain certifications and gain work experience and dig deep into this leadership concept. And I had to pay a lot of money and spend a lot of time to do that. And you may not have the money to go and do that, but you do have the time. And so hopefully through these short videos, I will try to keep them short for you guys. Through these short videos, you can gain valuable knowledge, skills, and tools to help you carry out leadership wherever you go, wherever you're at in your organization, because I believe anyone can lead. Anyone can lead. It doesn't matter where you are in your organization or what official job title you have. I believe anyone can lead. So let's start today's video with just this question. What is leadership? Well, I think it can be broken down into two separate parts. But first, let's define it. Leadership, according to Investopedia, is the capacity of a company's management to set and achieve challenging goals, take fast and decisive action when needed, outperform the competition, and inspire others to perform at the highest level they can. All right, so I'm going to go back. Leadership. It sounds really good from an organizational standpoint, and maybe you're looking at it like, what in the world? How am I going to invest in the company's goals? Maybe you're a company of one. Maybe you work for yourself and you're thinking, I'm already fully invested in this. And I feel like maybe I'm not being a good leader or I don't fully understand what that means. So we're going to break that down into two separate categories. What is leadership? Well, we saw what Investopedia has to say. Now let's break it down into the two subcategories. I believe leadership is 1, the development of self, and 2, the development of others. So first of all, let's talk about the development of yourself. So those people who develop the ability to continuously acquire new and better forms of knowledge that they can apply to their work and to their lives will be the movers and shakers in our society for the indefinite future. Brian Tracy. Now, I don't know if you caught it in there, but what Brian was hinting at there was the concept of lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is your desire to continuously obtain knowledge, to learn, to grow, to never be satisfied with where you're at, to have the belief that there's always something on the horizon, to know that I have a lot of skill, I have a lot of ability, I have a lot of knowledge, but there's always more. And I should always be striving for perfection. I should always be striving to gain more knowledge, more skill, more ability, be the best I can be better than where I'm at now. So Under development of self, that's the first principle. You have to be a lifelong learner. You have to be willing to learn continuously. And I can't remember who said the quote at this moment, but it goes something like, not all readers lead, but all leaders read. I'll say that again. Not all readers lead, but all leaders read. All leaders are lifelong learners. Okay, so again, I can't remember where that quote comes from, so YouTube, please no copyright problems. But anyways, you have to be willing to learn. If you feel like you have all the knowledge in the world, you're not going to really be a great leader, because leaders have to be visionaries for the future and ahead of the curve in things. All right, so what's another principle of development of self? Well, you got to have core values. Nothing is given to man on earth. Struggle is built into the nature of life, and conflict is possible. The hero is the man who lets no obstacle prevent him from pursuing the values he has chosen. Andrew Bernstein. You have to be grounded with values and principles. I'm not necessarily talking about religious values or principles. I'm talking about your values as a leader. Like, I believe that my words have consequences. I believe that my actions have consequences. You know, values like that. I will uphold myself to the highest of ethics in everything that I do, right? You're talking about values, principles. They guide you. They ground you. They help you to have direction. Okay, and help others to see that you have a moral character, that you are a moral person, that you are ethical, that you are trustworthy, that you are somebody who truly cares, that you're not just, saying whatever you regurgitate from something somebody else says. You are saying it because you believe it. Okay, you have values, you have principles, and you're holding true to those. You can't just say you have values. You can't just say you have principles. Like Andrew Bernstein said, the hero is the one that lets no obstacle prevent them from pursuing the values. So there's an action, there's an active part you play in your values, not just something you say. It's what you do, it's your character, it's who you are as a person. And that reflects when you're leading people. That will show them, hey, this person's got values. This person is somebody who I can trust. You have to have values. You have to have principles to stand on. Okay. So what is a third principle of self-development? You have to be a good follower. You have to be a good follower. You learn best through experience. Okay, there's this old quote, again, I don't remember where this one is from either, but experience is the best teacher, but also the hardest, because it gives you the test first and the lesson later. You will find, as you shadow great people, that you will pick up attributes from them. Man, I'm thinking of so many quotes and I can never think about where they come from. But somebody said once, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You are, or the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So how you want to be, how you want people to see you, you need to spend time with. If you want to be seen as a humble leader, you have to spend time with people who are humble. If you want to be seen as a strategic thinker, you need to be spending time with strategic thinkers. If you want to be seen as a powerful and, decisive person, you need to be spending time with powerful or decisive people. The people you spend time with start to rub off on you. You begin, if you're a good follower, you be a better leader. You have mentorship in your life that guides you and helps you. Like, you have a good leader. If you want to be a good leader, you have to have good leaders. It's a cyclical, event. I have a good leader, therefore I become a good leader. And it feeds back into itself. And then the next person feeds off of you and you become a great leader, and they become great leaders because they are able to follow you. So there's that principle. You have to be able to follow to be a good leader. Okay, so there's the first principle, development of self. There's 3 subcategories or principles, if you want to call them that. You got to be a lifelong learner. You have to have values and principles to ground you, and you have to be a good follower. Okay, but that's not all that leadership is. It's not just developing yourself, because I think it was Kuzes and Posner that said this in their book, The Truth About Leadership, which we're going to cover that later on this channel. That book is what got me really started on this entire journey. I love it. It's a fantastic book about leadership. If you have not read it, The Truth About Leadership, it is fantastic. I highly recommend it. By Kuzes and Posner. Hopefully I'm saying their names right. But leadership, what they said was, if you are walking down a path thinking you're a leader, and I'm paraphrasing, and you turn around and nobody's behind you, you're not a leader. So how do you get people to follow you? So you know that if you're a good leader, you have to be a good follower, but how do you get others to follow you? Well, you got to develop them. If you're willing to invest your time and energy in developing people, I promise you they will follow you. Even if it's just a little bit, even if it's just one person, maybe, you're just a cashier at a retail company. If you can be a person who wants to develop the skills of another, say somebody who only ever stocks shelves, that person will begin to follow you. They'll gravitate towards you. You ever seen those people in your organizations or in your life who just naturally are just, people just gravitate towards them and hang on their every word, whether they're telling stories or whether they're, teaching them skills or whatever. Those people have that draw because they are developing the people around them. They're speaking life into those people and they're pouring into them their own time, their own energy. They're not just saying, okay, yeah, okay, yep, that's good. Okay, yep, nope. You got the check sheet, right? It all looks good. Okay, this is what I need you to do. Forward the email to the boss and move on. No, okay, I see your check sheet is good. Okay. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? How did you feel filling out this check sheet? Asking them more personal questions. Did you feel you were fully equipped? Is there anything I can do to help you be more successful? Is there anything I can do to help you feel more ready to do this job? Whatever you need, I'm here to help you. Being there, being a developer. Okay, it's all about, teaching. It's about mentorship. You have to be a good mentor. You can improve them, develop them, train them, motivate them, coach them, and inspire them. Mentorship. Be a mentor. Be a good leader by focusing on developing others. Okay? Mentorship, teaching. Okay, those are, you mentor, you advise them, you coach them, you motivate them, and then you teach. You give them the skills. You give them the competencies. You give them the knowledge. Okay, so mentorship involves motivating and inspiring, right? And teaching involves and training. It gives them the skills. It gives them the knowledge. It gives them the ability. And mentorship tells them how to use that. Teaching tells them what to do. Mentorship tells them how to do it. It's more personalized than just training. Okay? So you've got mentorship under development of others. You got mentorship and you got teaching. And then here's probably the most important lesson of any leader, regardless of where you're at. As you develop others, as you mentor them, there's one thing you're always going to have to do. And if you don't do this one thing, you're probably not going to be a great leader. You've got to release and you've got to trust. You have to release and you have to trust. Listen, you can do all of the mentorship, teaching, training, but if you turn that into always breathing down their neck and always trying to control their actions and say, no, this is the way you got to do it. I thought we covered this. And you end up being a micromanager, not a leader. Leaders mentor, they teach, and they release. Or maybe not in that order. They teach, they mentor, and they release. If you want to be a good leader, you have to teach, mentor, and release. You have to let them learn. Like I said earlier, leadership is about developing others. And if you don't release them to grow, they can't gain that experience. Just like you had to gain experience, take the test, and learn the lesson later, they're going to have to do that sometimes. You're going to watch them. You're going to say, oh, no, please don't turn the wrench that way. That's not the right way to do it. Or no, that's not the way you scan, the block of cheese. You're doing it wrong. Or no, that's not the way you stock the shelf. Or no, that's not the way you fill out this spreadsheet. But you have to allow them to learn by doing. As much as you can tell them, as much as you could do it for them, if you don't release them and trust them to use the knowledge and skills that you've poured into them, your leadership it's not gonna work. You're gonna struggle. They're gonna struggle. So, to recap, what is leadership? Leadership is about development of self. To develop yourself, you must be a lifelong learner. You must be willing to learn constantly and grow and always have the perspective that there's more to gain. You must have values, strong values and principles to ground you, to guide you, and that you live by. And you must be a good follower and have good mentorship in your life. 2, you have to develop others. Mentorship, teaching, releasing. You have to teach them. You have to train them. You have to give them the skills and competencies. Then you have to mentor them. You have to advise and coach and direct. And then you release and you trust. You release them and you trust them to do what you've trained them to do. And I promise you, if you have children, just like your children, as you pour into them and you develop them and you teach them and you train them, they'll do things that you didn't even teach them because they're going to take what you gave them and they're going to run with it and they're going to grow. They're going to sprout. Think of yourself like a gardener. If you're a leader, you're a gardener. You're tending to a plant, to a tree, say, and you are planting it in the ground and removing weeds and keeping the birds away, making sure that and the squirrels, making sure that that seed or the nut will grow and begin to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you water it and give it the right soil and the right nutrients. Eventually, it's going to grow into a mighty tree, but it takes time. And there's a point where you just have to be hands off because if you put too much water, you're going to drown it. If you put too much nutrients, you can imbalance the soil. Okay, so just like a gardener, a leader makes sure they don't pour too much at once into their followers. Make sure that they don't, give them too much and that they can keep them balanced. They focus on the needs of who's following them, not their needs as a leader. You focus on the needs of who's following you. That's what's going to make a great leader. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing. Like it, subscribe it, turn on the little notification bell. It would greatly help me out here. I know I'm just getting started, but anything helps. Thank you again for watching Up Leadership. Remember, anyone can lead.